Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock, a channel for megalithic fans with megalithic perception on things that seems normal to a normal person, but actually is a mysterious monument with no known history if you are a megalithic fans with megalithic lens. Today, we are going to check out a monolith with conical top known as Tomb of Absalom. Israel is a land of megaliths where at some point in history something happened here and a megalithic footprint was left behind for us to wonder who was here first. The Bible verse that link this site can be found in 2 Samuel chapter 18 verse 18. It reads, Absalom in his lifetime had taken and reared up for himself a pillar, which is in the king's dale. For he said, I have no son to keep my name in remembrance. And he called the monument after his own name. And it is called unto this day Absalom's monument. According to the Bible, Absalom is the third son of King David. But Absalom was a rebellious son who was killed in the battle of Ephraim's wood. In an escape attempt riding on a mule, his lock of hair got stuck in the thickness of low branches of a tree in the wood. He was killed by the soldiers following the orders of Joab. However, the dating of this site comes with some controversies that arise when archaeologists argue that this tomb belongs to Alexander Jannaeus, who was a Hasmonean king of Judea. That will throw off the dating by approximately 8 or 9 centuries. Even more confusing is when modern dating shows that this tomb is dated to approximately 100 AD. That further distanced the biblical dating by 10 to 11 centuries, and Alexander Jannaeus became not famously linked to this monument. All these are still debatable because it was wrongly identified as Tomb of James, the brother of Jesus, Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, and Simeon, the oldest priest from Gospel of Luke. I have a feeling that archaeologists are just trying to find the owner based on the Bible. The Bordeaux pilgrims refer to it as Tomb of Hezekiah in 333 AD. The connection to Absalom is actually something developed about 850 years ago. It wasn't until 1170 that it was first associated with Absalom by Benjamin of Tudela because of 2 Samuel chapter 18 verse 18. Some would argue that in 2 Samuel chapter 18 verse 17, he was not a great person and was thrown into a great pit in the forest and raised over him a very great heap of stones. So, the monument mentioned in the following verse could be and should be just a pile of stones in a forest nearby. Maybe archaeologists should start looking at ancient forests nearby and scan the area with LiDAR for a great pit with stones. This impressive structure is 2 meters tall and 6 meters by 6.4 meters rectangular in shape. But I don't think you will know how tall this is if you live in 1745. The fact that it was allowed to be buried few meters high shows that it was a monument that was not created by Jews because they would not allow it to be buried over many centuries. This is a very unusual design that baffles archaeologists until today. The pillars on the sides are half Ionic design. It has Greek Ionic frieze, Roman smooth architrave, and Egyptian cornice. I'm guessing the Romans, Greeks, and Egyptians lived in harmony around the time of death of Absalom. Let's take a look at the entire structure from far with the bedrock in the background so that you can see the complete monument is not a monolith. Only the square structure in the yellow box can be considered a monolith created out of the bedrock. Then you can see that there are megalithic blocks of ashlar stones stacked into a square. On top of that are megalithic blocks stacked in cylindrical shape. The entire monument is topped with a curved conical roof. This is an amazing masonry achievement that could not have been forgotten in Jewish history, especially when it is for a biblical character. To explain in a simple diagram according to Archaeology's version, we have to start from the very beginning. First, Jews saw a bedrock, and they decided to hew a monolith out of the bedrock for a rebellious son of a great king. The dimension they decided is 6 meters by 6.4 meters on the sides, with Egyptian, Roman and Greek architecture on the top. After that, they stacked big stone blocks with no gap to form a square base on the top of it because they wanted to make it more awesome. Maybe stones are probably easy to deal with if you have ancient tools. Anyway, upon completion, they stacked more big stones into cylindrical shape on top of the square shape. By now, I have a feeling it is not an aesthetic reason by Jews, but rather a functional reason by unknown ancient builders. As if it was not awesome enough, Jews went on to carve ashlar stones into big blocks to be stacked on top to finish it off with a touch of awesomeness. But after all this enormous undertaking, Jews did not leave any inscription, written document or verbal knowledge to be handed down. So that's why we have to guess what it is for. In fact, against all logic, they allowed it to be buried by earth over a long period of time, long enough to forget what it is for. My opinion is that if this was done by Jews, there will be zero chance it can be forgotten in history. If Jews knew this was a monument for Absalom, son of King David, there would be 10,000 Jews removing the earth. It would be excavated and restored in about 4.5 minutes. The fact that it was buried for many centuries shows that we have no clue. We have no clue because it was created by the unknown ancient megalithic builders. I can show you that the megalithic culture were here first because everywhere they go, they left behind an unmistakable rectangular hole which is a tool mark. Worldwide mysterious square holes appear to be random and of no purpose, and it's right here. The entrance to the tomb is actually from the south side of the monument. It has stairs leading down into a cavity which feels like a tomb, and therefore it is called a tomb, despite the fact that there was no dead body found. During the Byzantine period, Christian monks made a hole to enter from the lower level. The hole in front is said to be knocked out by robbers and conveniently used by monks as a window to live inside. This is crazy information to digest because Christian monks destroyed a tomb to live in seclusion. Shows we know nothing about this monument. The chamber inside is a 2.4 meters square and seems to have a small burial niche. But I want to draw your attention to the ceiling. There is a circle in a square. This is clearly an unfinished work. But this is a very common design in Hindu and Buddhist cave temples in India. It is a lotus design which represents enlightenment. If this monument is in China, it would have been recognized as a Buddhist temple. In a nutshell, this monument we call Tomb of Absalom is still a mystery. We still do not know where is Absalom's pillar as mentioned in the Bible. Moreover, pillar seems to sound more like a tombstone rather than a tomb. Pillar as mentioned in the Bible didn't say it is made of stone. So what if it is just a hard wood made of an oak tree? I think in the megalithic culture, a square base with a pyramidal top is a functional design. Kailasa Temple in India, Gunung Kawi Temple in Indonesia, Tomb of Zechariah and Tomb of Absalom in Israel, they all have the same concept. You can check out those videos in my channel. In fact, when you take a look at all the megalithic temples in Indonesia, they too have the same concept. They are made of 100% stone with a square body and a pyramidal top. Sojiwan Temple, Mendut Temple, Ijo Temple, Sewu Temple, and Pawon Temple, just to name a few, will testify to the existence of a long-lost knowledge of a very different civilization. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on Tomb of Absalom and have a wonderful day. This is Berniong signing out. Lahi Traot.